Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining NYC Public Schools Pathways for College Instructors to Teach at NYCPS webinar. I am Taisha Morin. I support teacher recruitment at New York City Public Schools. Tonight's webinar is about how to teach at NYCPS through the Transitional G pathway for college instructors. Before we get started and allow folks to continue to join, and we're going to do a quick poll on what are you most interested in learning about regarding transitional G pathway to teaching at New York City Public Schools. So I'm going to launch the poll. Alrighty, the poll is now launched. So what are you interested in learning about? Is it Trans G certification requirements, NYCPS job opportunities, what's currently happening at New York City Public Schools, salary, benefits, etc. We're going to cover a lot of these things and more. So just to gauge what everyone is interested in, we're going to take a minute or two as people continue to trickle in. Alrighty, I see so far a good chunk of folks, over 60%, want to learn about the certification requirements. Almost 30% want to learn about the job opportunities, and then 5% salary and benefits, and zero what's happening at New York City Public Schools. But no worries, we're going to cover all these things. So in one more second, I'm going to transition us over to the next slide so we could continue on. So thank you everyone for participating in this poll. And if you're now joining us, we're going to continue on. So before we begin, you can submit a question by clicking on the question icon if you're joining from the GoToWebinar app. If you're joining through other formats, you can select the drop-down tab labeled questions to submit your question. And then you can open QR codes on the screen, which will be dispersed throughout the presentation by hovering your camera over to access the various links throughout the presentation. And don't worry if you miss something. We will send a recording of tonight's presentation in a follow-up email anywhere between 24 to 48 hours. And please wait until we near the end of the presentation to ask questions, as we'll be covering a lot of information and the answer to your question may appear, but we also have my colleague engaging with you in the chat for any questions that may appear there. And then we will respond to a few select questions, permitting time. We want to respect everyone's time here, and there's a lot of information to cover. And then if we don't get the opportunity to cover all the questions that you may have, you can access information via our online support, as well as a personalized response from me or a member of our team. So tonight's information session will be solely focused on how to become a New York City Public Schools teacher through the Transitional G pathway. If you are a college instructor with a graduate degree or higher and at least 4 semesters of college instruction, then this is the right place for you. And then if you are already a certified teacher, you can join one of our TRQ info sessions for certified teachers to learn more about New York City Public Schools teachers application process. So today's session was designed specifically for individuals with college instruction experience, as we said, who are interested in teaching at New York City Public Schools under the Transitional G Certificate. Given your deep content knowledge and experience teaching in post-secondary classrooms, you have what it takes to support and inspire New York City's middle and high schoolers. We'll cover 4 topics in this presentation, which include an overview of New York City Public Schools, the transitional G certification process, the teacher application process, as well as the job search process. And as we said, we'll leave time at the end to cover as many questions as we can. So in this section, we will do a brief overview of New York City Public Schools, a snapshot of the district, benefits of a career with NYCPS, and teacher supports and opportunities. Excuse me. So at NYCPS, we have a shared goal to build bright stars and futures for our students. NYCPS graduates go on to pursue meaningful and rewarding careers, reflecting the bold futures priority of New York City Public Schools. As a college instructor, you have so much to offer New York City students, and you could be a part of championing this mission. So when you join New York City Public Schools, you are joining the largest, most dynamic district in the nation, with over 900K students who speak over 180 languages and a network of 77,000 fellow teachers. New York City educators have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. NYCPS students represent a wide range of backgrounds, identities, language, and learning needs. They need teachers who reflect their diversity and are ready and able to support their learning. Whatever your background, experiences, and skill sets are, there are students in New York City Public Schools classrooms that are waiting for teachers like you. New York City Public Schools has over 1,600 schools that are as diverse as the students we serve in their distinctive neighborhoods. From neighborhood schools with deep roots in their local community to small thematic schools in the performing arts. There are schools with focus in STEAM, humanities, and dual language schools. Whatever your interest or passion may be, there is a school for you. And you can choose a school that fits your teaching philosophy and engage with with a community of like-minded professionals. And with our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. And we will talk a little bit more about how to find your fit and navigating the job search process later in the presentation. So we're getting smaller classes and bigger opportunities. The New York State class size law means opportunities for educators in New York City is only growing. Each year, we will need to hire more teachers to ensure our classrooms citywide are in compliance with this law. And New York City Public Schools is always growing with new schools opening each year. This fall, we had 7 new schools that opened. And who are we looking for? So New York City Public Schools is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We're looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the incredible diversity of our student body. NYC Public Schools has a bold vision through a reimagined student experience that centers career connected learning. All students will reach long-term economic security. This vision is one where academic excellence is integrated with real-world skills and experience, giving students a head start on college and career and helping them build a strong plan towards a path to a rewarding career. This includes many unique experiential learning opportunities for students, as well as critical programs like Future Ready NYC and Career and Technical Education, also known as CTE. Teaching at NYCPS allows you to leverage all of these great programs and resources in your teaching and incorporate academic expertise and deep content knowledge, while also allowing you to be a part of leading the way in a transformative education that prepares students for success in both at New York City Public Schools and beyond in their future careers. So here at New York City Public Schools, our teachers aim to inspire the next generation through supporting and challenging our students at the critical stage of their development and growth. Think back to your middle and high school experience. Who inspired you? What was exciting to you at that time? And as you reflect on the transformative impact of a middle school and or high school teacher that they had on you, think about how can you inspire New York City's next set of thinkers, leaders, and innovators. Now we will take some time to discuss New York City Public Schools' robust salary and benefits. Starting off with our competitive salary, uh, some of the other benefits to teaching at New York City Public Schools is that all New York City teacher public schools are paid a competitive salary and receive comprehensive benefits. NYCPS teachers are paid according to a salary schedule uh, that is part of the teacher contract. And the QR code above on the right will take you to the current salary schedule, which we will look at more closely in the following slide. Teachers starting salaries vary based on education and prior experience, and the starting salary for new teachers who have a master's degree and no teaching experience is $77,455. And as we said before, we're going to take a closer look. And here we have a salary schedule that was used from the September 2025 salary schedule in this example. As you can see on the left-hand side in the blue, the schedule is organized in steps. And on the horizontal row shown in green, you'll see the differentials. As you can see, the steps represents the years of service and experience. And if you are a first year teacher, 1A is your first day of work and transitions to 1B in March. For example, a teacher starting September 2025 will move to step 1B in March of 2026. You then transition to step 2A in September 2026. Teaching without interruption typically allows you to move 2 steps in a year. Once you begin teaching at New York City Public Schools, you can also apply for salary steps to receive credit for prior teaching experience, including college teaching experience. You'll be awarded a salary step placement at a rate of 1 semester of service for 1 year of full-time college teaching if the experience is deemed eligible. Note that adjunct and part-time college teaching is not accepted. The green bar, as we said, represents the differentials, which are awarded based on educational achievements and additional qualifications. The first, BAC1, is a bachelor's degree and continues from the left to right as you accrue additional credits. Similar to the salary steps, once you begin teaching at New York City Public Schools, you can apply for salary differentials to receive credit for your education achievements. Since you must have at least a master's degree to qualify for Transitional G, you may qualify for the C2 plus PD differential, which requires a master's degree. There are also longevity bonuses, retention bonuses, and opportunities such as after school and summer school per session for New York City Public School teachers to earn additional compensation. It's important to note that all new teachers will begin at step 1A, where the September 2025 starting salary is 68,902. Once you begin teaching and apply for salary steps and differentials, it will then be, if you're awarded, then you will receive payment retroactively. And then you can find additional resources regarding salaries on the UFT and NYCPS web pages. Once again, using your phone to hover over the QR codes. We also have a salary and benefits webinar recording that you can get more extensive information about salary and benefits at New York City Public Schools. So let's take a look at some more of our robust benefits. We have comprehensive health insurance plan, which include dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Some require no employee contribution. Annual retention bonuses, prorated during your first year and increasing each year. Membership into the United Federation of Teachers, also known as UFT. Enrollment in a pension plan. New York City Public Schools employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including community benefits, a college savings program, employee discounts, scholarships, financial incentives, and many more. There are also exciting loan forgiveness programs you could be eligible for as an NYCPS teacher. NYCPS employees may also be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, also known as PSLF. The PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan while working full-time for an eligible employer. So new teachers at New York City Public Schools hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities tailored just for them. In addition to many career development opportunities available to teachers, we offer robust supports for our new teachers in person, online, and in community settings, which include New Teacher Week. And this is an annual event where new teachers can get inspiration from special guest speakers, learn about key policies, engage with the UFT, and network with fellow teachers. School-based mentoring, where new hires are assigned an experienced trained mentor teacher to support their professional growth throughout their first year, as well as the First Class newsletter, which is a monthly digital bulletin for the first year teachers that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers common questions that new teachers may have. Teaching in New York City Public Schools, no matter where you are in your career, you have access to professional development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development, and after-school learning opportunities. In addition to school-based opportunities and supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including New York City Public School offices as well as the UFT. And then we also offer digital resources for busy teachers to find resources for their classroom and regularly stay connected to opportunities to extend their learning and impact. So in addition to all of the great teacher resources, New York City Public School believes strongly in the impact teachers can have on their teacher leadership in their teacher leadership roles. There are opportunities to cultivate leadership and empower educators in the classroom, and teacher leaders are also compensated with stipends for serving in these roles. These teacher leadership roles include model teachers as well as peer collaborative teachers. Model teachers use their classroom as a laboratory and as a resource to support their colleagues in their professional growth and to hone their professional craft, working closely with other teacher leaders. The model teacher is a resource to other teachers by demonstrating effective teaching strategies. On the other hand, we have peer collaborative teachers who support their colleagues through coaching and intervisitation. This is a process to improve instructional student learning while remaining grounded and aligned to the Danielson framework for teaching. Teachers that qualify for the peer collaborative teacher role also qualify for the model teacher role. And you can learn more about this through the QR code. And now we're going to take a look at teaching with a transitional G certificate. New York State teacher certification is a requirement for teaching positions at New York State Public Schools to support the immediate needs in priority certification areas. New York State Education Department, also known as NYSED, offers temporary certs or to qualified individuals, and we'll talk about one of those temporary certifications, which is transitional G, what makes you eligible for it, and how you can obtain it. So all New York City public school teachers must meet two key requirements, which is holding a valid teacher certification from the New York State Education Department, and as well as holding U.S. work authorization. And to address the work authorization piece first, you must hold U.S. citizenship, residency, or a work visa in order to teach at NYCPS. Regarding the NYSED teacher certification, that's what we're going to talk about here more extensively. So here's the NYSED's definition of the Transitional G certificate. The Trans G certificate is a temporary teaching certificate that enables those with at least 2 years of post-secondary teaching experience to teach their subject in an NYCPS classroom. Um, so yeah, this is the overall condensed definition of the Trans G certificate, and we're going to continue to look more deeply into what the eligibility and requirements look like. So there are 6 key steps to follow to obtain your Transitional G certificate, and we'll talk through them right now. First, you need to determine whether you are eligible for this particular certification pathway. And there are 3 eligibility requirements for Trans G certificate. And these are the questions you would need to ask yourself. Do you hold a bachelor's or higher in the subject you wish to teach? Do you hold a graduate degree? And do you have 4 semesters of paid post-secondary teaching experience in the area you wish to be certified in? As we said before, please be advised adjunct teaching experience counts towards the post-secondary teaching experience. Later in the presentation, we will discuss how to navigate the New York City Public Schools teacher application, which is a crucial part to securing Trans G certification, as a school district recommendation is one of the requirements for Trans G certification, according to NYSED. So previously we discussed the basic requirements for Trans G. Now let's discuss how to determine if you meet the specific requirements for your desired subject area. And to determine this, uh, you will need to utilize this tool, which is called the NYSED Search Certification Tool, where you can see a listicle view of the requirements and the multiple pathways available to determine if you meet at least one pathway for the specific subject area that you're applying for Trans G. So please follow the following steps to identify the specific criteria for your desired subject area. In the tool, in the area of interest section, select classroom teacher. For subject area, select your desired subject area. For grade level, select the appropriate grade level. Title, choose the title that's applicable for you, and then the type of certificate you will choose transitional G. Note that if you are interested in pursuing world languages certification, you'll need to select classroom teacher foreign languages as the area of interest, and then you'll see the languages listed in the subject area dropdown. And then here's an example of what that looks like with an example of what the selections will look like for the subject area English. See classroom teacher, English, the grade level is adolescents grade 7 to 12. Select title, English language arts 7 to 12, and then the certification type is Trans G. So once you select search, it will then bring you to the requirements page for your desired subject area. In this case, these are the requirements for English for transitional G. Click on bachelor's degree, for example. Courses in composition is English, literature, poetry, playwriting, grammar, and English linguistics are acceptable. And this is like pertinent to Trans G because some of the inquiries we get regarding will your degree count towards a particular subject area. When you use this tool and you click on the education requirements that NYCED lists out, it will tell you what is the acceptable degrees or coursework for the particular subject area you're interested in applying. And then the next step, no matter what pathway all New York State candidates take, they must complete the following workshops, which includes child abuse identification, school violence intervention and prevention workshops, training in harassment, etc. The mandated New York State workshops also have a cost which depends on where you take them. And you can learn more about the providers of these workshops on the New York State Education Department's website. And as they're out of state and online providers, you don't need to be located in New York State to complete these workshops. So you can access the QR code to see more resources regarding that. And step 4, you're going to want to apply to Teach. So Teach is NYCED's online teacher certification system. You will apply online and submit a $100 application fee. Please make sure to print or screenshot the webpage showing your payment receipt or transaction record, which will appear once you finalize your application. And the receipt is only available at the time of your application. You will then follow the directions to submit your official transcripts to NYCED. So this is where you're going to submit all required documentation regarding transcript, proof of 2 years of paid post-secondary experience, and then once you are hired, you're as well as information to secure school district recommendation. So then step 5, you will need to submit proof of paid post-secondary teaching experience as mentioned. Please ask your department chairperson to send an official letter on a college letterhead directly to the Office of Teaching Initiatives, verifying details of your post-secondary teaching experience. You cannot send this letter by yourself. Your department chair must send it. But please ask them to copy you, as you will need this letter for your NYCPS application later on in the process, which we will detail. In the letter, the chairperson of the department must verify the applicant's full name and either their date of birth or the last 4 digits of their social security number. the applicant's title/position at the institution of higher education, a list of courses that the applicant taught, course's name, course number, and the semester in which each course was taught, a statement verifying that the applicant's job performance was satisfactory, and this letter can be scanned into PDF format and emailed to tcert@nysa.gov or mailed to the Office of Teaching Initiatives. Then also, if you taught at more than one college, the chairperson from the department in which you were employed at each college must send their own letter to NYSED, again, copying you with the steps that we mentioned earlier. Then last but not least, step 6, which is a big one, is to secure your Trans-G certificate. You must receive school district recommendation, as we've mentioned, and to do this, you must first submit a New York City Public Schools teacher application, and we will talk about the NYCPS application and how to find a position and get hired shortly. Once your application is successfully screened, you must secure a position within NYCPS school. After you are hired, your principal will request that the district's human resource director of HRD will confirm your employment and submit the district's recommendation into your teach account. And your Trans-G certification will be valid for 2 years, after which you will need to obtain an initial certification. You will need to complete the Educating All Students, EAS, exam in order to qualify for the initial certificate. And we wanted to give you just a heads up on that because we get questions often too about, so what happens after the transitional certificate. So now we will talk about the requirements to teach at New York City Public Schools and the application process. So in order to work at New York City Public Schools, you must submit your application to teachnyc.net. However, please be advised that the application is currently closed and will reopen in January 2026. But we felt that it was important to have this session today, especially given that Trans-G candidates need to obtain a department chair letter for both obtaining certification as well as the NYCPS application. So to give you a head start on figuring out those conversations with your department chair about obtaining the letter. Fulfill all certification requirements and receive your certification. This process is done completely through NYSED. And then find your teaching position by concluding job outreach and interviewing at school once your application has been successfully screened. Everyone who is interested in teaching for the upcoming school year must complete the New York City Public Schools teacher application on, as we said, teachnyc.net. As we said, it's not open yet, but it will be open in January 2026, and you will receive an email regarding when it's open. Please be advised you're going to be moving through the Trans-G certification process and the NYCPS application process simultaneously. You need to qualify for certification to obtain employment at NYCPS. And on the other hand, you need to secure employment at NYCPS to officially obtain Trans-G certification. So complete the NYSED Teach application and the NYCPS application simultaneously. So this is a screenshot of teachnyc.net where you'll go to apply. And once you get to teachnyc.net, you'll click apply today and it will show a drop down menu for all the different applications. For the teacher application, you'll select certified teacher application. At the moment, the application is currently not open. So if you went into this, it will say that it's closed, but just as a preview for when the application opens, in January. So if you are a new user to the NYCPS teacher application, you will need to select new user. If you used the teacher application in a previous year, you can use your previous login information in order to gain access to the system. If for any reason you cannot remember your previous login information or you're not sure if you have been in our system, please select not sure. There are two different parts to the application. The first part is the NYCPS profile, where you will enter information about yourself, your work authorization status, and your education history and your work experience. The second section, you'll complete the job search profile where you'll enter information about your job preferences, and then we'll submit information about your certification pathway. We'll talk more about the certification in a second in the next slide. Keep in mind that your responses to these parts of the application affect your engagement with our office. For example, if you identify the Bronx as a borough preference, you may be invited to online or in-person recruitment events for Bronx schools. So in the certification section, you'll be asked to input the following information. Here's what you should select for your specific circumstances. Certification requirements, requirements completed, no certification issued by NYCED. Certification state, New York. Certification type, transitional. Subject area, select your subject area. Grade level, select your grade level. And educational pathway, transitional G certificate. When you get to the supporting documentation section, please upload a copy of the department chair letter demonstrating your post-secondary teaching experience. And this is very pertinent to your application review, especially if you haven't started a teach application and there's no record of that department chair letter yet in your teacher application. Even if you've sent it to NYCED, it may take time to process. So it's important that when you apply, you attach your department chair letter, as that can determine make or break determine if you're eligible, in addition to the other requirements. There are times candidates will say, well, I have X, Y, and Z experience, and why um, why was my application declined? And it was because that information was not included in the application. So now we'll talk about the application process. Here's what happens after you submit your application. All applicants will receive confirmation email from the Office of Teacher Recruitment and Quality confirming a receipt of their application. All applicants All applications will be reviewed to determine certification eligibility. Only applications that meet the standards are entered into the new teacher finder, also known as the NTF, which is a database for candidates to connect with schools and access job postings and other resources. And we'll talk more about the NTF shortly. And just to give you a sense of the typical application and hiring timeline, the application typically opens in January and remains open through the summer. There's a lot of mid-year hiring that takes place during the early winter months, and the principals begin hiring and interviewing for the following school year. Early commitment is an initiative for candidates certified in high need subject areas to be able to accept positions in certain districts prior to budgets being released for peak hiring. This year, we even had a stipend available for eligible high need subject area candidates who accepted an early commitment before June 16. Then finally, peak hiring is usually June through August. So just as a preview. So now we're going to get to the job search process. So once you figured out how to get New York State certified and you've completed your New York City Public Schools teacher application, now you can begin your job search process. As a preview to the job search process, here are some ways you can increase your chances of finding the right position. Researching schools online, conducting outreach to schools directly, using the new teacher finder and other job boards. The NTF, remembers, your access to is based off your application being successfully screened based on eligibility. Network with colleagues and professors and friends, and attend NYCPS networking events. And we're going to cover this further in the upcoming slides. So one way you can promote success in your job search is by considering districts, neighborhoods, and schools where your talents are most needed. If you are certified in a certain high demand subject area, this is especially true. If you're really determined to work here, you should also think strategically about where you're looking for a position for. If you want to go where the jobs are, consider teaching in positions in the Bronx and Brooklyn. This year, 58% of our new hires occurred in schools in these two boroughs, and it's important that you find schools that are the right fit for you, but don't exclude schools because they're slightly out of your comfort zone or in a different borough from where you live. Almost all of our schools are easily accessible by public transportation, and we have students who need great teachers in all 5 boroughs. And then while we hire across all certification areas and backgrounds, we want to highlight the current hiring priorities for New York City Public Schools. These priorities can shift from year to year based on the needs of our schools. These are areas where principals will be hiring, and where there is a high demand for more teachers to be certified. And we encourage you to consider uh, one of these areas where teachers are in high demand. And see, these are some of the examples of the subject areas. We have science, special education, computer science, CTE, world languages. Uh, these are some areas that to consider. And as stated, if your New York City Public Schools teacher application is successfully screened, you will gain access to the new teacher finder. Once again, this is New York City Public Schools job search tool. And here is a screenshot of what the NTF looks like. After selecting search all positions on the left panel, you can filter for position type, your preferred borough, grade level, and subject area. Principals enter their vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. To learn more about specific schools, you can go to schools.nyc.gov and use the school search feature right on the homepage. You can search for schools by name, borough, or grade level to help narrow down your options. However, you'll want to remember that the tool lists uh, every school in our system, not just those openings, not just those with openings. So once you've identified schools that interest you, you'll need to contact them directly to inquire about positions they may have available. To learn more about individual schools, you can click on an individual school's name, and it will take you to the page that contains a wealth of information about that school. Click on the school website to go directly to their website. You can click on Overview to see some data about their grade levels, enrollment, districts, and more. Click on school quality for direct links to school quality guides, reports for this school, and click on reports for additional information about school programs, finances, and much more. And now we will transition over to next steps and questions. So you can visit our online support center for 24/7 support with the application and the hiring process. The support center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as a contact us button where you can submit your question to the TRQ help desk for personalized response. And as I said earlier, if we're unable to get to your question, or if your question is more uh, pertaining to your specific case, it'll be best to reach out to us via online support. And then please follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to stay on top of what's happening at New York City Public Schools. We have really active social media platforms where we regularly share updates on the application and recruitment events, as well as news about what's going on in our schools and relevant opportunities for teachers. So join the conversation.